Okay. Whoops. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge, ProChargeEV.com. All right, y'all. Day 2 of the MLB draft is in the books. Couple of takeaways, and then what we're looking for here on day 3 of the draft. Trey Morgan didn't have to wait very long. Morgan went 88th overall to Tampa. So he was, early, mid, round 3. And then Gavin Dugas went number 165 overall. He was the first pick of round 6, and that was it yesterday. A quiet day. First of all, congrats to Trey. That's fantastic for him. Great spot to go there into Tampa. And then and for Gavin, I got a call yesterday before the draft, and one of the things kind of that this person put a bug in my ear, said, hey, don't be, he said, keep an eye on the seniors with no leverage, because if there's a team looking to save money, they could call and offer them just the opportunity to keep playing, right? And this one person in particular told me, like, I would call and offer him $5,000, like literally told me $5,000, and say, do you want to keep playing ball, or do you want to go get a real job? And so I don't know what Gavin's going to sign for. I don't know what that number is. We'll find out, in time what ultimately he signs for. But it's going to be well below. So a slot for Gavin at that spot, I think, was around $300,000. He's not going to get that. So the example that I've used a bunch is, Kramer told us, it's funny, like a lot of these guys, after the whole process is over and their years down the line or whatever, they'll be more candid about, numbers and how the process went and everything. But Kramer told us, as a junior in round 32, he was offered $250. And then he came back for his senior year. And his senior year, St. Louis took him in round 4, and he got $125. So he got half the amount in round 4 that he was offered the year prior in round 32. The other bit of info there to keep in mind is, outside of the top 10 rounds, teams will spend on guys to try to get them to sign. So think about that. It was around 32, got offered $250. So today, think about guys like who are still out there: Jordan Thompson, Christian Little, Blake Money, all the guys with leverage, like with eligibility remaining. Travinsky, Milazzo, Joe Bear. Are those guys picked today, and are they offered over, or are they offered enough to make it worth signing to go start their pro career instead of returning to LSU? So that's why today is really a sprint. The first 2 days are 10 rounds, and it's the draft pool money, and a lot of it is known. It's just where guys are going to go. Like, of course, we knew Skeens and Cruz and Floyd and Taylor were going to go, and Morgan. Like, we knew those guys were going to go. It's just a matter of where, right? But then you have surprises. Like Cameron Johnson still sitting there after the first 2 days is a massive surprise. And there are guys who have gotten 7-figure bonuses on day 3. And there may be a team that's willing to pay him. But my guess is he has already told teams that have called he's not willing to take whatever they've offered. It's not that nobody has picked up the phone and called that kid. He's a lefty who throws 95 and has touched 98. But his number, I was told, was $3 million. And if there's not a team willing to pay him $3 million and he is firm on that number, then maybe he's coming to school. Now, the flip side of it is, this is the last day of the draft, so this is his last shot at it. So if a team calls him today and says, hey, look, man, last shot, we'll give you 1.8. I'm throwing out a number. His number's 3. Well, does he move $1.2 million off his number to take 1.8 to go play pro ball? Maybe. I don't know the kid. And I don't know what he and his agent, his family are talking about today. But, that's something worth watching. So, all right, let's say some good morning and see what y'all got. Earl, good morning, said Matt. Edwards and Shores back next year. So Shores remember, Shores was a freshman this year, so he's not draft eligible. Edwards is a really interesting one because, one of the things I was told to keep an eye on yesterday was Edwards going pretty quickly, and probably getting about $500,000 to sign, and Edwards didn't get picked yesterday. So similar to Cameron Johnson, my guess is Edwards got a phone call, got multiple phone calls, and had his number at $500,000, and teams probably try to get him at a discount. And he said no. What does that mean for him today? I don't know. But that's one that you got to watch today. So, it's why the MLB draft is so hard to predict, because it's not as binary as the NFL draft, where guy likes player or team likes player, team picks player, player plays for team. It's just not that simple. There are more elements. So I don't know if you'll follow me on Twitter. Before each day of the draft, I've tweeted out some things like tidbits to keep an eye on. Like the first day I told you sounds like Ty Floyd's a virtual lock. He ended up going in the competitive balance round A. Told y'all Grant Taylor was likely to sign. He did. Yesterday I kind of gave a heads up about the Gavin Dugas thing and said, I was expecting Morgan and Thompson to go inside of 5 rounds. Well, Morgan did. Thompson did not. Thought to keep an eye on Garrett Edwards. One of the things worth watching yesterday was, did Christian Little get picked? He didn't. I mentioned Stephen Milam. Stephen Milam and Ashton Larson, and neither one of them got picked. So, again, those aren't necessarily predictions. It's more, here's what we're watching, because there's just going to be ambiguity surrounding it. So you go into today and you're keeping your eye on 3 prospects: Cameron Johnson, Ashton Larson, Stephen Milam. You're keeping your eye on those 3, and then all the LSU guys we just talked about, and what their situations are. So we'll see how it goes. Trivia Carter, Brad David, Ethan Davidson, Michael Hoffman, Wendell Norman, Weston Weaver, Larry Garner, Mike the Tiger, 2023 National Champs. Ricky Lambert, good morning. My wife got up early today, so she's watching. Well, good morning, Mrs. Lambert. Thank you so much for watching Morning Scone. It's a pleasure to have you. Hope you are having a fantastic start to your day. Ethan Davidson, Trey Morgan went to the Rays. So excited I got to root for him as a Tiger. Now he's at my favorite MLB team. You know what, Ethan? Respect to say that the Rays are your favorite MLB team, because I'm not sure there's many people who would stand in that line with you. Brad David, who's your most memorable interview at SEC Media Days? Matt Corral a couple of years ago was fantastic. Jarvis Jones from Georgia back in 2012 or 2013 was really good. Andy Boy, MLB really needs to fix draft bonuses. Kind of terrible how seniors get messed over. No, Andy, they don't need to fix draft bonuses. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's competitive balance picks. There's a draft pool that teams have to spend. The worst teams have more money to spend. It's just how the draft works. There's no, you're drafting not a guy. Here's the difference. If you draft a guy in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers took Bryce Young #1 overall in April. 5 months later, they're expecting him to start their first game of the season at the most important position in team sports, right? In the MLB draft, even when you take a guy in round 1, you're not expecting that guy to impact your big club for 2-3 years. There are exceptions. There's guys who fast track their way to the show. We saw Bregman do it. Skeens and Cruz are going to do it. But that's not the norm. So, no, like, you're drafting prospects. You're taking a shot on a prospect that you can get into your farm system, develop to hopes in 2 or 3 years ultimately help your big club. And if a guy is playing collegiate baseball as a senior, he's older, which means if you still need that 3+ years, 2-3 years to get, like, he's even older then when he gets to your big club. So you're trying to mitigate risk and hedge toward the upside. So I know they don't have to fix it. It's like, that's a decision that college players make when they're underclassmen. Do you want to come back for a senior year and have another college experience, or do you want to go start pro ball and take a larger sum of money? That's a decision that those guys make. Ty Floyd made that decision this year. He is the perfect example of college baseball working. 3 years, he went undrafted as a high schooler to better and better and better. Now the guy made $2.5 million as a junior. Boom. That's how it's supposed to work. Shelby, dog days of summer, right? LOL, MLB draft, baseball commit, Zion getting on Arenas' pod last night. No shortage of sports news around here. True. And media days next week. A55K1KK3R. Good morning. How many LSU recruits have been drafted? Just Blake Mitchell. Haven't been able to watch. Got my wisdom teeth pulled yesterday. Well, I've had my wisdom teeth pulled, and I'm going to tell you, whatever meds they gave me for that were really good. Yeah, just Blake Mitchell so far. And the other awesome news, if y'all missed it last night, and I told y'all this on Friday, but Jake Brown put out on Twitter 2 tiger emojis, essentially announcing he's coming to LSU. So Jake Brown is the #1 player in Louisiana from Sulphur. He is a two-way guy. He's a left-handed pitcher and is going to hit and play first base. So I would assume next year primary role will be on the mound, and he'll back up Bear Jones at first and hit. So that's a big get, to get that kid on campus for 3 years. Bubba Smith, good morning. Kelly Groves, Trey Patan, Jerry DeLucky, good morning. Sorry. Sometimes the comments just scroll down. Let's see. Jerry asked what time today starts. It's at 1 o'clock again. So 1 Central. It starts again today, 1 Central. Sonny Warbington, good morning. Kirk Taylor, awesome to finally hear you on 137 Lafayette. Don't need to use my phone. So by the way, Kirk, be a huge help, man. And please tell everybody you know, take a picture of your radio dialed on 1037 and tweet it at me and tag ESPN Southwest Louisiana. That would be awesome. Earl said Matt, I wish Beloso would get a shot. He may get a shot today. Matt, outside of first or second round, do these kids have to go through the minors, AA, AAA? Well, yeah. Well, I mean, most of them that play this year will start in rookie ball. So you start, low A, you had low A, high A, AA, AAA, obviously. Carson Stevenson, everyone goes through Sunday. Yeah, okay, yeah. Brian Arce. Yeah, so anyway, Earl, just kind of it's a good question, because if you're like, none of us, I say all the time, none of us lives in a vacuum. If somebody's thinking something, other people are thinking it too. So yeah, there's nobody that I'm aware of has ever just gone straight from the draft to the big club. So a lot of times what'll happen is, even for the elite prospects, you'll go play rookie ball. So like, keep in mind, the minor league season is still going. The college season's over, but the minor league season is still going. So what guys will do is they'll go play rookie ball for the rest of this summer and fall. And then next year, they'll go to spring training if they get a spring training invite with the big league club to try to earn one of the roster spots on the big club. But if not, then they get assigned to some level of minor league ball. So, for example, Bregman played rookie ball, then went to camp and went to Double A in Corpus Christi. Absolutely crushed it in Corpus Christi. Quickly got advanced to Triple A Fresno, and then I believe it was July or August, got his call. I think it was July. Got his call up to the big club in Houston, and then never went back down. Right. So Bregman did rookie ball and then like half a season in the minors, and then was in the show. But he was magnificent. He's Alex Bregman. Cruz will probably follow a similar path. Like they'll probably go assign him to rookie ball this year, and he'll go to spring training with the big club, and we'll spend part of next year in the minors, and provided he's doing what Dylan Cruz does, he'll get a call up at some point next year. Brian Arsenault, Matt, did you help yourself to Jacob's running back info that was pinned up on the board in studio? I don't know what that is, man. I'm sorry. Those guys, like, they have their thing. I don't know. There's this tack board in studio that has kind of just become sort of background, and I don't even know what's on it. Like, seriously, I pass it every day, but it's like they have Polaroids pinned on it and all different kind of stuff. So you have to fill me in on what that is. Kelly Presley, let's see, Earl, how do you feel about the running back room? Loaded with bodies. Does anybody step up to be a bell cow? That's my big question. Let's see, Brian, if anyone's looking for a new tailgate food item, look up Meat Church Shotgun Shells on YouTube. Okay. Let's do a couple more here. Please smash the like button if you're there on YouTube. Subscribe up to the channel if you're new. Thanks so much for being there. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being here. Reed Rule, even if Shores and Edwards came back, would they be available next season because of how late the injury happened? So, Reed, that's the reason why it's largely assumed Edwards is going to sign, because he wouldn't come back. Like, he likely wouldn't be available to pitch next season. So that's why it's assumed Edwards is going to sign, and that's why a lot of people thought he would get picked yesterday. So, hey, Dad, good morning. Dane Bergeron, good morning. Damon Gilmore, Shelby Kelly, can a prospect sit out of the draft and sign as a free agent wherever they want? No. If a team picks you, they have your rights for a full year. And if you don't sign, then they get compensated for that pick. So, for example, So Kumar Rocker was drafted by the Mets, and he didn't sign after he was drafted. If y'all remember that situation, well, the Mets got the 11th. That was after 21. The Mets got the 11th pick in 22 as draft compensation because Rocker did not sign. So. So Rocker didn't go back to Vanderbilt. He began his pro career when he played independent ball and was draft eligible in 2022. Otherwise, the Mets would have retained his rights. Jason H., good morning. Let's see, MLB draft is weird that only Americans and Canadians are eligible. Like, that's true as well. Because a lot of people have asked, I've been asked that question a bunch about, like, why can't you draft guys from the DR or Cuba? Yes, I mean, that's all very, it's weird. That part is true. Because then that just becomes a bidding war for guys from Japan. Becomes just a bidding war for the guys from those countries. Julia Kaolelapono, good morning. Weston Weaver, any news on why Jordan Thompson didn't go yesterday? Not sure. I'm sure I'll have a phone call today, a few phone calls before the draft today, and see what the situation is there. But, I know there's the LSU fans that took some degree of pleasure in crapping on their own player who are probably going, you see, I told you. Again, so much of that depends on price tag. So, I mean, the example I'll give you is Ty Floyd. Like, the Astros were going to take Ty Floyd 28, but they wanted to sign him for under slot value. So they tried to wait him out. And you go right up to the pick and say, here's the number. Do you want it? We'll take you here. And if he says, no, I'm sticking to my number, well, then you draft the next guy, which is what they did. But Floyd ultimately went 10 picks later at 38 and still got $2.5 million. I'm sure Thompson's phone rang yesterday with teams probably trying to sign him for under his number, and he probably said no. That would be my guess. I don't know that, but I'm sure I'll find that out today. So I think the really interesting thing is, with 757, is guys like Thompson and Edwards in particular, and then Cameron Johnson, their phone will ring today. So the real question is, do you take what's offered? That'll be interesting. All right, Julia, can't wait to see who takes Thompson and Jobert. Brian Ashcraft, you see the kid last night take 115 mile an hour off the face in the outfield, fielding balls last night off Vlad's balls. I did not. I had the home run derby on, but I didn't really watch it. I don't even know who won. Tim Gotro, Ray Langlois, good morning. Always jump on too late, but listen to the recording. Usually headed to Mass at 8 a.m. Have a blessed day. Awesome, Ray. Thank you so much for watching, man. Have a wonderful day. Zachary Hardy, does that mean there might be a small possibility that Thompson comes back? No. No possibility of that, no. Reed Rule and the same people hating on Thompson not getting drafted would be ecstatic if he came back. Weird stuff. It's kind of weird. I didn't think about that. Jeff McKithen, good morning. All right, y'all. As always, shout out to Brock. Remember, Brock Rock and Wine coming up July 29th. It's at Tiger Stadium in the South Stadium Club. So really cool. If you've never been up there, you're having an event in Tiger Stadium, South Stadium Club, which is really cool to look. You'd have an event in there overlooking a completely empty Tiger Stadium. Food from dozens of vendors, tons of wine, live music, great event. Tickets at brortho.com, brortho.com. And of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. We'd love to help you out. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. All right, y'all. Have an awesome day. And LSU Daily is live if you want to check that out on your favorite podcast app and AFR3. Peace.